All right, hello again. And this video is going to be very interesting and requires all your focus because I'm assuming already you actually managed to segment your list and who you plan to target. You did your homework. You know already, like, I'm going to target a CEO in startups that are in the SaaS space that have been recently funded. And that's what we call a segment. And you already now want to reach out to them for whatever reasons, whether it's for just to connect with them or to sell them something or whatever, or there's an event you plan to attend and you want to invite them to an event. So there's a lot of good reasons you would like to connect with anybody. Now, this focus of this video is going to be on LinkedIn DMs. So it's not emails, and I'm going to be avoiding emails at this video because it's another long topic with a different style of writing and different way of looking at things. When we want to start a conversation, so I have been seeing a lot of I would say influencers in this space, and they've been saying something like, "Saw your latest video on X, really insightful. How do you see this impacting your marketing strategies?" Now, I would say this is a good way, but not the best. And again, if you believe there is a winning template, you are mistaken. You need to know, how do we do it? You need to know what kind of sentences do we usually use, what is the length, but you still need to test. And this is the whole point of why we're having this conversation. You need to show you're genuine, okay? You have genuine interest to them on what, not just planning to sell to them. You need to make sure personal interaction. Imagine going to a networking session or a networking event, and you go to somebody and say, "Saw your recent post, blah blah blah," out of the blues. You know, that can be weird and off sometimes. Okay, so that's why you need to always have context a little bit, and you need to evaluate about your persona first. I cannot just tell you use that exact template on your persona. It's based on your own observation. Like, what is the common denominator among all of them is for my persona, for my segment that I plan to reach out to. And you need to know how to build a rapport for any future conversation. I think that's really one of the biggest deals on getting early trust via your DMs. This is exactly one of the most horrible examples that you should avoid. And I think it's, I've been seeing this even in my LinkedIn DMs, in my colleagues' DMs, every single day. Exactly the same thing, the same style. It's too generic and confusing. I don't know what exactly he wants. It's too lengthy, especially for the first touch point. Like, you can actually get away with lengthy DMs if it's a second or third touch point, but first touch point, that's too much. And I don't know what you like. How is this relevant to me? If, let's say, I'm a co-founder or CEO of an agency, we say you create websites and mobile apps, and we hope that stay connected to benefit mutually. It's no, just no. Like, this has been done so much, especially we get tons of DMs like this. And it's annoying. In fact, you might get blocked. You might, as I told you, like, a lot of risks on your LinkedIn profile. You might get blocked. You might get reported. You might get reported for spam, especially if you're sending the same copy again and again and again and again to thousands of profiles. That's one of the horrible things you would want to face when your LinkedIn profile gets restricted. This is just an example I want to share with you on what we have seen. And by the way, it keeps changing from one industry to another industry to another industry. So this is like, "Hi, I noticed you work as area sales manager at company name. You're leading sales in specific industry." We've many sales leaders I talk to say their teams feel stretched chasing unqualified leads. It's a real energy drain, right? And this kind of emojis that you would want to have is actually a good idea sometimes, because, I mean, you need to be natural. Sometimes you need to put it, sometimes you don't need to put it. It depends on who are we talking to, what kind of personas are we talking to. Are they mid-management, top management, who they are? And we help teams like yours boost qualified meetings by blah blah blah. I've got a quick guide that lays it all out. So you can see you're giving them not, "Hey, let's jump on a meeting," but you're giving them a lead magnet. That's exactly what you want to achieve. So another example, this is something very interesting that I will show later. I will show later for you numbers on reply rates for this specific one. It's another first touch point that is, hi, I am Muta for Expand East, fast growing B2B, blah, blah, blah. Happy to meet you. And one of the interesting things about that is we happen to see a lot of good responses from C-levels, especially CEOs, like, hey, I'm glad to connect as well. Can I know a little bit more about who were you working with in the Fortune 500 companies? We got these responses, and I happen to see that many have been saying that it's a bad copy, don't do it. But that was one of our winning copies at some point back in 2024. The other one is we call the second touch point if somebody did not respond, is the reason why I'm reaching out, because I have an exclusive guide backed by Forbes and McKinsey on crafting a successful go-to-market plan in Southeast Asia. It also covered the common hurdles Japanese tech companies face when trying to scale in the region. Now, it gives you an idea. We were focusing on Japanese companies. We were focusing on CEOs in those Japanese companies. And guess what? This report was actually very much tailored for them. So this is exactly why the campaign was super successful. Like, we literally, it took quite some time, it was not something that has been done overnight to come up with a lead magnet to talk with CEOs in Japan on what is the potential of Southeast Asia if they have never been to Southeast Asia, and if they are aware of Southeast Asia and they have been to Southeast Asia, then we're going to discuss about growth tactics and more like fast track growth elements that they can consider in their flow. So we have, as you can see, these are some of the responses. Thanks for sharing. Please send me details for your solution via email, and we can set up a meeting next Tuesday. So people do value if you are relevant. People do value your lead magnets if it's relevant for them. And your messaging needs to be structured in a way to be tested. Some of it is you can mention directly like, hey, I noticed you're leading this startup, congrats on the recent funding round. And then you can discuss about, I have observed that your company has been doing blah, blah, blah. Is this something you're currently exploring? And mention a pain point. So this is what we call, you're just simply utilizing relevancy based on the list you have. So your messaging can never be generic for every segment. Another option of personalized message, this is actually quite interesting and, how would say, contrary to the opposite of what everybody is mentioning on YouTube, especially influencers in that space, because we have tried that. We are selling a lot of cybersecurity solutions. So if you're in the cybersecurity space, I think that's very, very helpful. Now, you already know how difficult it is to get someone to consider jumping on a meeting if you're selling cyber solutions. And it's one of the most difficult industries. So when you see here, the reason why I'm reaching out, so that would be like a second touch point. The reason why I'm reaching out, our senior security engineer, 20 years experience, is hosting a 15-minute online one-on-one session for executive blah, blah, blah. Focusing on preventing unauthorized access to, you can see the 3 points here. Sessions are limited to ensure meaningful discussions. Interested, that's it. That's it, exactly that's it. And the responses were like, hey, it sounds interesting, can we do next week? Maybe on Monday or Tuesday. Now, we already briefed that the person who will be doing the meeting, he needs to show these elements so the meeting could match what has been discussed in the DM, and also show some use cases and then sell the solution. So you can also, when somebody like this jump on a meeting, you need to be careful. You need to be careful of not aligning the one who's doing the meeting with the actual DM. That's why you need to always mention what is the scope or what was the angle of your message for somebody to jump on a meeting. So that meeting can become obviously a proposal and then obviously a conversion. So at this stage, there are certain things you need to avoid in terms of wording, because it impacts your confidence and impacts, even if you are a CEO, right? And you're looking for investors. And this is exactly what CEOs usually do at the early stage of startups when they are looking for funding. If you start a conversation with an investor, I'd like to connect, or sorry to bother you, that's incredibly bad start. And first impression lasts. And this is something for you as a co-founder, CEO, sales leader, whoever you are, need to be careful about it. Now, I'm just giving you an examples of phrases to ditch, and I'm telling you, just do it instead. For example, sorry to bother you, change it. Go straight to the value. Why are you connecting with me? Hey, Mark, I noticed you are an angel investor in this company. I've been working on a very interesting project, quite similar to what you have been invested in. I would like to share with you what we've been up to for the last couple of months. Can I share with you our deck? Example. This is just an example of how would you straight away go to value. Another one, if let's say you're just checking in, like again, filler, avoid it, irrelevant, waste of time. Or asking question, are you the right person? Or if you're not the person, please let me know. All of this, bull crap that you should not add in your LinkedIn DMs. Because this means that you are just simply lazy, sending a generic message. You didn't actually check your list. You did not vet your list before you even blast to them or send to them your LinkedIn DMs. One of the things I really observed after launching several campaigns over multiple years is that Monday and Friday, and that's not even me, a lot of studies have been published on Gartner and a few other reputable places, but that's just also my observation. Monday and Friday is the best time to avoid, not to go for. The best time to go for and do your DMs will be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We call them the golden days. And honestly speaking, our BDRs in Expand East, this is the time for them to perform. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is their best time to perform across all campaigns. If they miss these 3 golden days, they have to wait for the next week to perform in those 3 golden days. So they need really to maximize their output on these specific days. Now, there's even a specific timing. When should you send these messages? Is it in the morning, mid-morning, mid-afternoon? These are some times, and it has been very useful. But don't be restrained to it. Don't go micro optimizing into this. I will just stick to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for now. But if you want to go hyper optimization and you're launching crazy amount of messages, definitely you can consider looking into that as well. So why clear messages are a must? What does it even mean? Look at this. This is a clear example of not a clear message. Requesting too much too soon. I don't know exactly what you really want. Is too vague. Even when you're saying following up, I'm just following up. So obviously you're following up. So what do you want? I already ignored you in my first message and maybe in my second message. So what do you have different for me this time? Nothing, just following up on the same thing that I've been following up before. So even if you want to do that, it's fine, you can do that. But you can just simply say, following up on this, interested or not, question mark. That's it. This is too crazy, okay? So this is exactly what I'm talking about. And this is how we can have conciseness, clarity, straight to the point. People don't like to have their time wasted and their inbox cluttered. So as I told you, these are the best practices. You need to keep it short, highlight the key points. You need to be brief and direct as much as possible. Your CTA needs to be always soft in the beginning, so don't ask for a call in the beginning. Always make sure to give them some sort of lead magnet or interested to know more, or can I share this with you? These are the kind of stuff you need to, and make sure your grammar is okay. Okay, so the next video is going to be talking about follow-ups and the art of following up to get the maximum output for every single prospect. Looking forward to see you in the next video. Thank you.